Hello everyone, it's Brett here, Lionheart84, and we're late in November, so I thought we'd have a look at my three main Tamarillos and one smaller one that I've got, and perhaps have a little short discussion with them, what I'm going to do with them over winter this year, and what the prognosis is for any possibility of flowers or fruits next year. Now you can probably see from looking at this tall one here, you can see the size pot. I did repot the three large ones this year into larger pots. I'll give you some idea of the size of the leaves. The leaves haven't been as big as they have done in previous years. I didn't feed it as much this year because I was trying to encourage them to flower, which has obviously not succeeded. This plant is actually 8 feet tall, including the pot. Now, if you happen to have followed my Tamarillo videos, last year I cut them back a fair bit to get them into my summer house, which you can see behind, and I thought that might encourage them to flower the following summer, i.e. this year, and that didn't succeed at all. They overwintered quite well in there with some a little bit of dieback on the tips from the cold, and I did actually cut all the leaves off when I put them away to try and avoid, so I thought, water loss and mould development, but in actual fact that didn't work. So I decided this year, basically I'm going to try and squeeze that plant in even if the tip sort of touches the roof, and I'm not going to cut them back this year at all, and I'm hoping that if they survive the winter by not cutting them back, it might stimulate them into producing flowers next summer and possibly get some fruits. It's not really going to matter if the tip bends over, and if when I try and get them through the door I find this one simply can't fit, then I might be forced to cut the top 6 inches off, but I'm not going to cut them back hard, and the other two which will fit I'm not going to cut back at all. I'm hoping that that might encourage flowers. Now of interest in this one, it's got a couple of volunteer lychees in it which I don't think will survive the winter. I actually poked a couple of seeds when I was eating some lychees outside in here about 3 months ago, and as you can see they've germinated, but bear in mind it's late in November. Surprisingly, these seedlings haven't died yet, but then we haven't had any frosts. You can see that they've got good size. You can see they've got good size trunks on them now, good sort of 2 inches across. They're definitely of a size where they'd hold fruit, but I just can't get these ones to flower. So as I said, I'm not going to cut them back, and then from the spring, assuming they survive the winter in there, I'm going to try and use a high phosphate, I think it's phosphate, or is it potassium? Well, whichever the one fertiliser you use which is meant to stimulate flowering, I'm going to try that on them and see if I can get some flowers or fruits on them next year, because that is the name of the game at the end of the day, as well as getting them to overwinter. If I was more centrally placed in London and had a very sheltered urban garden with high buildings around, I'd probably try and leave one outside of winter, because my good friend here, Mobius, does have fruits on his in-ground planted Tamarillo, which must be about 15 to 18 feet tall, but he lives in a more sheltered part of London than me, but it is viable for them to survive in a mild winter, but not here. As soon as I get a frost here, the plants all turn brown and go slimy, so I certainly won't be risking it. But I thought I'd show it before I put them away, because I haven't really done any Tamarillo videos for the last 2 or 3 months, and I thought it might interest some people. So those are my Tamarillos, seed growing. I think maybe they're 3 years old now. I've lost track. I mean, I have cut them back a couple of times because that's what the growers in South America recommend doing, but it hasn't worked for me. Although they've branched out a bit, they just haven't developed flowers, so probably due to climate and my growing conditions that I'm offering them, or something I'm not doing right. Anyway, thanks for watching the video, much appreciate it. Please remember to give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. You can share the video if you think anybody might be interested in seed growing Tamarillos in the UK or other cool climates. And remember to click on the bell if you'd like to know when new videos come out. I'll catch up with you all soon. Brett out for now.